We are here. We are here. Welcome back to the Coach's Huddle. It's your boy, the coach. And we got another installment of Cover 2. I'm here with my guy, Jesse Naylor. How you doing, Jess?
I'm doing fantastic, Coach. I wish I could say the same thing for our 49ers, man. That was, I think my good luck has finally ran out. I was on a streak, a real bender there, winning a lot of games when I attended in person. I've lost 2 of the last 4. I'm no longer good luck for the 49ers. And losing Fred Warner while I was in the building, I'm officially no longer good luck for the 49ers. So
it's you
I'm
and
just gonna,
Jair Brown.
well, probably more me than Jair somehow. I don't know how that's possible, but I'll blame me. How about the fact that they only had 10 men on the field and didn't have a defensive end? Maybe if that would have been in place, this wouldn't have happened. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe Shanahan or Saleh should be held accountable a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely something to look at. But before we get there, we got to be able to talk about all of the news that's happening with the 49ers. And I know we have tons to talk about with the Bucks. You know, we got topics. You know the flow of the show. So if we talk, we talk. It is what it is. But got a little bit of housekeeping. More Brandon Ayuk news. So look, full stop. I'm not even going to tease this as if I know exactly what we're going to talk about. I do know that this is a topic that just got raised. And Jess, I'm going to go ahead and step aside and let you take the steering wheel on this because I think you can give the full context of what we just found out with Brandon Ayuk recently. So go ahead, Jess.
You know, it's funny because when things like social media accounts get scrubbed from athletes, a lot of times you get the local, the journalists, the real at heart journalists, they won't cover these types of things. That is not the case here. In fact, this whole thing came from Jennifer Lee Chan, of all people. She said that Brandon Ayuk had scrubbed his Instagram account and took all the 49er stuff down, which is true. However, the problem is it sounds like this is not a new development. This happened a while ago, and he's never put the 49er stuff back on. I don't follow these guys that closely to know what they are or are not doing.
Nor do I.
But what I do know is to me, it was newsworthy to a certain extent because of the things that I had heard around the Brandon Ayuk situation. So I will give you an example. I have been told for a while now that Brandon Ayuk is healthy and ready to play.
He's a healthy scratch.
And they're basically healthy scratching him, but they're using the injury as the reason to not play. Oh, he's still trying to get back. And when you look at the injury just in a vacuum, it should take a year to recover. He tore multiple ligaments and a meniscus and all these things. So it doesn't look weird from the outside when he's not back by week 6. I was shocked he wasn't back by week 6. And my understanding is the 49ers, whether it's because they just want to make sure he's fully healthy or they're trying to shop him, I don't know the reasoning. I just know that from what I'm hearing, he's frustrated from not being able to play when he feels like he's ready to go. So then to hear this social media stuff is like, okay, well, we got something here because now he's outwardly showing the frustration that I've heard could be happening behind the scenes. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe this social media account has been like this for a while. All I know is that this has been a big soap opera, Coach. Going back to before he was signed, we were at that training camp together. You remember every single day, you know, we're in DMs with Ricky and talking to other people and reaching out to anybody that we know that might have an idea of this contract and what was going on and is he going to get traded and everything that was going on around it. Then this offseason, there was talks of them trying to trade him again, but he's not fully healthy. He even admitted that on his social media. And now we are here again. He has no 49er stuff on his social media, whether it's a month old, 2 months old, or happened 14 seconds ago. It is a little bit weird. And you couple that with what we're hearing as far as him potentially being healthy. This relationship seems like a very toxic one, to say the least.
Yeah. So, man, look, he's hurt like by paper, right? Until he's actually activated to play.
Right. And also, to be fair, what we're hearing is not factual. I don't know for a fact. That's why I haven't said anything until now, right? I'm just bringing it up because of everything else that's happening. But I've been hearing this for weeks. So I don't know that that's factual. I'm just telling you what I've heard, and what I've heard hasn't changed. So,
All right. So is there a world uh where the Niners are possibly fitting Brandon Ayuk in some of these trade packages that they're looking at right now? Because as it stands right now, we need defensive linemen. We need a pass rusher. We need interior defensive line. Right up, don't look now, but we need a mic. Um, is this anything new? Or is this something where it's just like, something that we saw that's been ongoing in the past and we're kind of just circling the block on old news?
yeah, I mean, I think it's a possibility. I don't know if you remember last week, but I floated out Ayuk for Thibodeau.
You did.
And that wasn't because of nothing. It's because of what I had heard, right? And so,
Yeah.
not that I've heard that rumor specifically. I want to be clear. I haven't heard that rumor specifically, but I had heard that he was ready to come back and the 49ers weren't playing him. And so my thought immediately goes to, well, maybe they are adding him to these trade talks. I don't know that to be true once again, but that brings up another thing. Let's kind of transition from the Ayuk thing because there's not a lot of facts here other than what we do know is the relationship has been contentious at one point, and it seems like that still might be a little bit fractured. What the result of that is, we're going to find out soon enough. However, you talked about the trade thing, and last week we were like, all right, what about this trade? And what about this trade? We were super excited, and we also talked about how much we loved this team in particular because they are battlers and all
They're
of
gritty.
those things. Well, now here we are a week later, and a lot can change in 1 week.
Hell
Should
yeah.
they even honestly be looking to make these trades? You're not going to replace Fred. You're not going to replace Bosa. Even if you get another guy, they're not going to be at that level. And for what, man? For what? Like, does it even make sense to make the trades that we were even talking about a week ago at this point with Fred being out?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that my thought process on how we should respond to all of that is really kind of falling into fruition right now. It's like what I said is true, man. Now it really looks ridiculous for us to try to go get a guy
Yes.
and do the best we can with going to get a Simmons or a Thibodeau or a Bradley Chubb. It just doesn't make sense. For me right now, the biggest thing is making sure that we get guys back. We protect our rookies. They're going to have to play more snaps. We saw that CJ West has been put back into the middle of things. We also saw that Malik Mustafa is back. Jair Brown got elevated again. We've got to do something about Marquise Siegel. So right now, I hate to do this, but the mark of a good team sometimes is staying where you are, not budging. Like, having the fortitude to stay planted and understand that, hey, man, all we have to do is just stand. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's it. Just stand tall. Don't budge. All right. Don't falter. Show up, ready to play. All right. We got Atlanta. And that's the biggest thing that I can see right now as far as like trying to make moves on. You cannot replace a Jerry Bertier. You can't.
One does not replace a Jerry
One
Bertier.
does not replace a Gary Bertier.
Strong size.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do it, bro. So for me, this is great opportunities to get Tatum Bethune time on task. Elevate Nick Martin to see what he can do, right? Get CJ West playing fully and, to the tempo of the NFL game, right? These are guys that are going to have to be ready to go next year because really, I've said this for a while, but while we're looking at why the guys are our quote unquote, our core, they may not be performing right now. They may not be doing exactly what they need to do, which is cool. But I've always said that there's two sides of this deal when you're in your prime, bro. Like, they got paid to go get championships in a window. And now the window is closed. And the rest of what they got paid for, all of these deals, you're going to get paid for us to usher in the new generation of players. That's what this is about, right? So when these guys are going down, I think that this is, they're not going to last forever. George Kittle's not going to be here forever. CMC, Trent Williams, they're not going to be here forever. So it's time for us to start getting these guys on the field and seeing what they can do. Because that's where I stand with it right now. This is, that's ain't pretty, man. And that's sans, Fred. I think Fred is damn near one of the best players in the league. But outside of Fred, I see the decline with these guys, and it plays. It plays. It's time to move on. So I don't want to make any big swings. I don't want to make any proclamation. I don't want to hear about us going to go get a guy. If they do that as fans, we should be insulted. We should be insulted as fans if they go out and go get a pass rusher, and it's just like, why? Yeah. Why? We're not going to the Super Bowl. Like, why? Right? We need to be figuring out what the hell Mykel Williams is doing. We need to get the best out of Bryce Huff right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are we doing this? So I want to see if they're going to blink, right? Because when your team is in this state as well, Jesse, you're also going to see who can coach, who's really there to show up and do their job, right? Who's going to come in and wear the banner, do what they're supposed to do. And you can really cut the fat, especially in times like this during a football season. So that's how I feel about it. With the Brandon Ayuk stuff, man, I don't know, man. Honestly, bro, I don't even see a path really for him to like be here. Like, I really don't. There's been so much between them. Do you feel like there's a path for him to be here?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know, man. It just seems the other thing that she threw in that article was like, oh, and also I wouldn't be surprised if Brandon Ayuk doesn't play at all this year. They might just keep him on ice all year. It's like, keep him on ice all year. Why? If he wants to play, what are we doing here? So I don't know. It does seem weird. We'll see what ends up happening with it. But I think you're right. When we talk about trading for somebody else, it just doesn't make sense anymore. I mean, all you can do is play the hand that you were dealt, right? Mm-hmm. And you may have started out with 2 great cards, but now the turn has happened. And when the turn happened, it didn't go in your favor. So you don't just keep doubling down and betting and calling everybody else's bet, because now all of a sudden you're not winning, and you're not going to win this hand unless something happens at the very end here. And trading for a guy a week after we had this conversation, now that Fred Warner is out, it's like, no, you cannot, because we talk about Bosa, who has now torn that same ACL twice. Okay.
Yep.
It makes you wonder, is the other one going to go again? Which is also a possibility, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't know how healthy he can stay. We don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back. We don't know if Brandon Ayuk is on this team, what he's going to look like when he comes back. We now don't know what Fred Warner, who's going to be, 29, approaching 30, what he's going to look like when he comes back. Yep. Trent Williams probably shouldn't be on this team next year. CMC probably shouldn't be on this team next year. We don't even know if Brock Purdy is the guy of the future. And let's remove Mac Jones from the conversation. This dude can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy. And he hasn't been playing good football. So whether Mac's here or not, we don't have to talk about a controversy. Can we just figure out if Brock is even the guy to bridge the gap until the next guy at this point? I don't even know if he's that. So you add all those things together. Kittle's on the other side of 30. He's having trouble staying healthy. You cannot afford to give up assets. We saw what one trade of Trey Lance 4 years ago has done to this roster.
We're still paying for it.
We're still paying for it. What Jake Moody has done to this roster, what Cam Latu, what Drake Jackson. So you can't take chances out of that lottery, which is the draft. You have to have every single asset available to you so you can try to replenish this on the fly. Because I remember this offseason, we were having a conversation on one of the topics that we had on the 4-man front. I think it was when it was on my channel. And I said, when is the next time you think the 49ers are going to honestly win a playoff game? And my answer was the 2027 season. Not 2025, not 2026, because I saw the path ahead. To me, it seemed like, wow, we got a couple years of retooling, rebuilding here. Not that they can't make the playoffs, but can they win an actual playoff game? Are they that team? Well, right now, they don't look like they're a team that can win a playoff game this year. I don't think things are going to get easier next year with what we've just laid out. This team needs to retool / rebuild on the fly. And that's really hard to do if you don't even know if you have a franchise quarterback at this point. So I don't know. One Fred Warner injury is really, I think, changed the outlook of a lot of people on this team.
For me, it hasn't. I've always felt the same way. We could talk about quarterback all you want, but I mean, forgive me, man. I'm just, I don't do the big lights. I just look at the foundation of things. If you really want to look at the future of this team, look no further than the offensive line. That's where you'll see it all. Right now, man, Dominic Pooney has regressed. We're underpaying / overpaying for Colton McKivitz. They got like some kind of deal in blood where he knows he's not worth the $7 million, but he takes it. Then he understands that he wants to go on the market. The Niners get a little bit nervous. They pay him $15 million and he takes it. I don't know. Okay. Colton McKivitz is always doing good until we need him to be great or to actually be serviceable. Then the bottom falls out. He's like Sex Panther. 60% of the time, he works 40% of the time. Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like Trent Williams, he's a shell of himself. I said this the last time we had a show, is that it's not the fact that Trent Williams has consistency now, is he has consistency based off of what he first started out with, which was absolute dog water when he came up. Yaya Diaby was having his way again with Trent Williams. They can't run the ball, all right? Connor Colby, he's a rookie, right? He's an imperfect vessel, and he's learning on the fly. I get it. Jake Brindle.
Sucks.
My God. I stopped looking at PFF grades because I don't know what they're looking at. I really don't. I got to understand exactly how they grade these guys out because it just doesn't make sense to me. Some of the biggest things that really threw me off is just how we had the run game, right? And let's just go ahead and just skip to that. We're going to get to Brandon Ayuk, but I just want to get into that while we're talking about the offensive line. But the run game is really confusing to me. We had 22 rushing attempts, all right? Out of those 22 rushing attempts, Christian McCaffrey had all of them. Brian Robinson Jr. had 0 carries, all right? In the first quarter, we had 4 attempts for 11 yards, averaging 2.8 yards a carry, all right? In the second quarter, we had 8 attempts for 24 yards, averaging 3 yards a carry. 1 touchdown by Christian, which was the first touchdown of the season, week 6. Quarter 3, we only had 8. We had 8 attempts for 29 yards for 3.6 a carry. And in the fourth quarter, how many attempts do you think we rushed the ball in the fourth quarter of this game?
1.
Twice.
Yeah.
We ran the ball 2 times in the fourth quarter. All right. Another thing that's really killing me right now is that the best time that we ran the ball, we ran it the least. We ran the ball 8 times on first down. We averaged 4 yards a carry on first down. So you can't tell me that there's no water in that well. All right. You got to commit to the run game. All right. It's hard for me to sit here and look at how anemic the run game is and how we don't commit to it when Mac Jones is averaging 42 attempts a game. All right. Against the Rams, he had 49 fucking attempts, Jesse. All right. They're just not bought into it. And they have backs there. Where is Jordan James? Where is he?
I have no idea.
Did they
Garendo's
draft
not
him?
even returning. Garendo's not even returning kicks at this point.
Did they lose him? Where is he?
No idea.
I just don't understand what they're doing. As far as the running game, the running game concept, outside zone, they had 8 attempts for 25 yards at 3.1 yards a carry. That's supposed to be the bread and butter of what we do. We're averaging 3.1 yards a carry on outside zone. Not only that, this is what really makes our outside zone numbers so anemic, is that this is supposed to be why the offensive line is so non-traditional. That's why we're supposed to get these guys, because we're not going to get the traditional big guards and the all-pro centers and the guys at right tackle. We're not going to get those guys because we predicate on having speed to the outside. That's why we can put 280-pound
short arms and shuttle speed, baby. That's all we care about here.
And we're only averaging 3.1 yards a carry on outside zone. I mean, it doesn't help when you're not committing to the run game. Inside zone, no better. We only had one attempt for inside zone yesterday, 2 yards at 2 yards a carry. They're not committing to the run game. It's sporadic, all right? Then you see when we actually do put forth a good foot on the first down, we're averaging 4 yards a carry, but they are not committing to it, man. And the biggest thing about it is that I feel like they're doing it with the wrong guy. Christian McCaffrey needs to be dialed back with running the ball. He does. Brian Robinson needs to start running the ball more. Okay, he had 0. Why are you putting him on the field if you're not even going to run with him at all? Why, Jess?
No idea. It doesn't make any sense. You talked about the offensive line, though, and I want to talk about it, like zoom out a little bit, not just talk about it within this season, what happened yesterday, but Dominic Pooney is not playing good football. And he hasn't since the tail end of last year, probably like week 13 on. And at that time, again, we chalked it up to hitting the rookie wall. He's going to be fine. We got a guy. We felt like we had a guy at right guard for a long, and he might even be, a lot of people were like, hey, maybe he can even be our left tackle in the future. He played tackle in college, like yeah, maybe left guard, whatever. Now, he started the season off injured. I don't know if he's still hurt, and that's what's contributing to this, or maybe he's not hurt, but he's trying to get over. I don't know. I'm trying to give him some leeway. But at this point, he's had as many bad games as he's had good games in his career. He's the Brock Purdy of right guard, just so we're clear. Like the back half of his career, he's looked as bad as he looked good in the first half of his career, and people are hanging on like, oh, Pooney's a guy. Maybe, but maybe not. And if he's not a guy, coach, they have no guys on the offensive line going forward. If Trent Williams retires this offseason, they truly should be replacing left tackle through right tackle. And maybe McKivitz is serviceable enough to be your right tackle, although preferably he's coming off the bench. But that's at best. If Pooney's not a guy, they need to replace the whole thing this offseason. That is not easy to do in the NFL because people don't let good young linemen go. They just don't. And so you're not going to do it most likely through free agency. And then you're going to have to hit in the draft at a position you don't like to draft. So I don't know, man. The offensive line of the future looks awful. The depth of this team doesn't look great. You don't know what the hell you have at the quarterback position. You got your wide receivers are pissed off at the coach for multiple different reasons, it seems like. There just seems to be a lot of bad things going on right now.
I'm looking crazy at Coach Forrester, man. I mean, from an offensive line standpoint, your unit is a toolbox. Now, I understand you have your starters, but you don't start a season or even get into a group or a unit without having guys that you know can change the trajectory of the offensive line from a performance standpoint. What I mean by that is this. What is going on with Hennessy? What's going on with Drew Moss? Why are we bringing these guys in and they're not coached up to play? Like, what are we doing? You can't just roll out Jake Brindle and that be it. That can't be it. If Connor Colby is good enough to be serviceable now, they should have been working his ass in the start since camp. They should have been doing it since camp instead of holding on to Ben Barch's ass, all right, where he couldn't even play a series without getting hurt. Their entire approach to how they're developing the offensive line doesn't even make sense. You brought Spencer Burford in here. He was a tackle. You took him out, made him a guard, struggled at guard, then shoehorned him in, started him. scapegoated him in the Super Bowl. Now he's a tackle. Hurt, can't even play anymore. You got the guy Gutierrez, where the hell is he at? You had Nick Zakelj. Nick Zakelj is just Brock Purdy's buddy. Is he playing? How the hell do you have a Nick Zakelj here for multiple years and he can't find his way on the field in a pinch? He's 6'8", 300 plus. What have you been doing with him? There's a lot of guys just hanging around, bro. Just hanging around, especially on the offensive line. Like, I'd be looking at Coach Forrester if I was Kyle, like, why don't you have anybody ready? Why aren't any of these guys ready? Injuries, I get it. But these young guys who have been here multiple years that have not even got a little bit better, we can't count on Nick Zakelj at all? That's a problem.
I hear you, but Coach, every guy you mention is like a super late round draft pick or an undrafted guy. Like, that's
the name of the game, though. I don't want to hear that. If you saying that you're getting unheralded offensive linemen and coaching at the 49ers is like being a stripper and being upset that your ass got smacked. It's a part of the job. I don't want to hear that. That's collateral damage. You better come to the job expecting that. If you get Drew Molson here, you got to get him ready.
I don't condone what you just said there, sir. Listen. Okay, I guess, but you can't continue. You're spending 3rd round picks on kickers, 4th round picks on punters, and bringing in a bunch of UDFA guys and like, why aren't these guys starting? I don't know, because maybe they suck more than the guys that are actually starting, who, by the way, are also late round pick journeymen that have found their way through the league and shouldn't be starting either. You cannot pour 0 assets into this position and be like, it's all Forrester. And I know you're not saying that. It is a combination of both. And maybe he's not a good coach. That's also very possible. I'm not trying to write that off. It's just hard for me to blame him or look at him sideways when he's getting the scraps of the scraps, and it's like, make something work.
But
go figure it out.
All right, and I feel you, but you can't be the guy to sit on the mic and say, I like it when we get skill guys. I don't mind that.
Yeah, you can.
I don't mind,
because that's how you keep a job in this league. Bruh, hey, Kyle, you want to feed me scraps? Cool. I'll just keep coaching this trash up and keep my job because I know you're never going to fire me.
Okay, so what are you saying now? So now all of a sudden, Forrester's untouchable just because he's in a workflow that he can't help. He's not forced to be a good coach just because he's getting scraps.
Oh, I'm not saying he's untouchable. I'm not saying he's untouchable from us. I'm saying he's untouchable from Kyle. Kyle's not going to do squat to Forrester. I guarantee it.
Man, Chris Forrester, man. I just don't get the offensive line. I don't get the lack of physicality. I don't get the lack of investment. And I don't think the offensive line can hold up for the rest of the year. Did you see what Vita Vea was doing to Dominic Pooney yesterday, bro? Did you see him split the double team between Jake Brindle and Dominic Pooney? Like, yeah, bro, back-to-back plays. There was a time, I told you this morning. There was a point in the game where Vita Vea was getting so much success, getting so much push off the line of scrimmage that they were taking him out of the game to rest him. They were resting him.
Yeah.
They were taking him out of the game to say, look, all right, look, we got to pick this in spots. Come on off. Come out. Vita Vea they were resting him so much. Vita Vea was on punt return, running into punters. The 4th and 1, the offsides by Dominic Pooney. What are we doing? I seen an over end with Christian McCaffrey bled out into the flat, and Colton McKivitz looked so lost that Christian had to run into him and push him into a defender to block. What are we doing? We get a pick, all right? The defense is fighting their ass off, and in the middle of it, Trent Williams is playing Twister with a DB on the field. But he's the leader, Hall of Fame leader.
He's a leader. He's a dog. We love that dog mentality. We love the dog mentality of Jennings and Trent Williams. When we're winning, it looks great, the dog mentality. But when you're losing and you need every freaking yard and every point, and you're potentially putting points on the board for the other team, getting a penalty like that, or taking points off the board, when you're in the red zone driving Jauan Jennings, and you're throwing a DB to the ground after you threw a fit on the sideline. And oh my God.
Go.
Jauan Jennings, all offseason, we're like, oh, is he holding out? Is he holding in? Jauan Jennings, the whole point of this was he's not the caliber player to do that. He's not the guy. There's only a certain amount of players in this league that have enough cachet to where if they hold out or hold in, you take notice. Jauan Jennings is not that player. So then also that means Jauan Jennings is not the type of player that you allow to throw a fit on the sideline. It's like, well, we got to feed him the ball. We got to Mac, get him the ball, which is basically what happened. He threw a fit on the sideline. Bro, you're a wide receiver 3 in this league. And then all of a sudden, we start feeding you the ball, force feeding you the ball when the offense has been in rhythm. Then you pout. You get a penalty that takes potentially 4 points off the board. Jauan Jennings. This is Jauan Jennings we're talking about. This isn't Jamar Chase. What are we doing here, man?
And he want $20 million. And he want $20 million. You ain't worth $20 million with 30 in your pocket. Stop.
Golly.
Pouting. Body language, horrible. All game. It ain't bad enough that you're hurt and you don't play. Mac Jones got hit 10 times, sacked 6 times. The dude is barely getting off the ground. Offensive line isn't fighting for him. The first thing we hear after the game is, I got 5 broken ribs, though.
Yeah.
I got 5 broken ribs. Man, don't nobody care about your ribs,
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Did you play? Then what was all the other BS you were doing?
Come on, bro.
Let's hit this sleeper, bro. Let's hit this sleeper real quick. Jauan Jennings. Jauan Jennings is the type of player that you bench when he does that. Not the type of player that you're right, Jauan. We got to force feed you the ball now. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But what does make sense is using promo code LSS when you play Sleeper. First of all, if you download the Sleeper app, you use promo code LSS, you don't even have to put in a deposit. You're going to get $20 free to play with. So try it out. Now's the time. Promo code LSS, and you can either tail us or fade us. You're also going to get a 100% deposit match of up to $100. Link is in the description near the top. All right. We're going to take our freebie here, Coach. Aaron Rodgers is going to get us at least 1 passing yard. So we're going to get that.
You take that.
Now, DK Metcalf's been on a burner, man. Do we take the more here on the touchdown? Do you think
they got scores? The Bengals?
They got the Bengals.
Yeah, that's
Bengals piss poor defense. Okay, you feel good about that. All right. What about Jamar Chase? You think he gets in with Joe Flacco at the helm?
Yo, Joe's dealing.
Joe's always dealing. Come on, bro.
Joe's dealing. Yeah, I'm gonna say more.
Joe's gonna get you 3 touchdowns and 3 picks every game, and he's
in Joe's plays on the plane on the way there, bro.
And he's actually, let's see. Oh, we don't have a Joe Flacco yet. All right.
Joe is low-key turning into the next Vinny Testaverde, bro.
Last one. And this is probably one of my favorite things about Sleeper that I've just figured out is you can tease things up or down. So, for example, Jaylen Warren, 59.5 rushing yards. I feel like that's right about where he should be. I don't feel good about that. But you know what I do feel good about? I think he's at least going to get 40. So I'm taking the 40. Tease it down. We're going to put 10 on it. We're going to submit our entry. 10 for 53.50. Those are Coach's and I's picks. If we don't win, I'm blaming you, Coach. Again, promo code LSS. Get your free $20. You don't even have to put in a deposit. Tail us or fade us. It's up to you. Thank you, Sleeper, for being a great sponsor all year long. All right, Coach, let's get back to it, bro.
Let's get back to it. All right. So look, next topic, man, because we got to get into it. We can't bury the lead, which is Fred Warner went down. Look, I ain't a doc.
We did bury the lead already. We're 40 minutes into this thing. I haven't even talked about Fred.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of went there, but Fred Warner went down. We all saw it. Wasn't pretty. God, I got so much respect for his game, but now seeing the team without him, it's so weird. Isn't it weird seeing the defense without Fred? It didn't even feel right. I kind of was in a fog within like the next 5 to 6 plays afterwards. It took a little while for me to actually care about the game again. It was a gut punch. And when you see how it went down, I made a light joke about it, but obviously Jair Brown has nothing to do with Fred Warner getting injured, but it really was a freak play. It was weird. Jair Brown went for a tackle, whiplashed around, and Fred was coming up behind him, and it just hit him at the right time. We got
the same thing that happened to Aiden Hutchinson last year. He got his leg broke by friendly fire, if I remember correctly. It was like a guy came around from the other side, looped around the quarterback, went airborne, and his leg ran into Hutchinson and snapped it. It was like,
so
how fluky.
It's super fluky. My biggest thing is that there's not a world where I want to see Fred Warner any less than what he is as a football player, right? Mm-hmm. And we want to give him all the time that he needs to get back, but what now? Let's talk about just how the defense responded, what you saw with Tatum Bethune in Fred Warner's stead at middle linebacker, and kind of just give me a forecast of where do we go from here? And just first off, your reaction, because you were at the game.
It was I don't know what they showed or didn't show there. We didn't see the replays, obviously. Did they go directly to commercial when everything happened, or what?
Yeah, they showed it once. They showed it once the slow-mo, and then they went to commercial for a while.
Okay, yeah. So they went to commercial. That cart was out fast. So we knew right away, like, oh, this is not good. He's not going to be playing this year at the very least. Mm-hmm. And so you start to worry about the future and think about the future, and we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I just hope that he can come back and be the player that he was. But that aside, watching that game and the impact he makes, it was. Do you know how many times they just started eating over the middle? Dig route. And they just did it over and over. And not to mention, Baker missed 2 throws at Agbuka that would have been touchdowns over the middle.
Yeah.
So
he missed them twice.
Missed them twice in a row. And so you look at it, and all game long that happens. Bethune, to me, and David and I talked about it, like, man, he seems to be out of place on a lot of these. Winters, we already talked about, he seemed to be regressing. Martin, you can't even get on the field yet. I don't know what they're going to do. Now, the good news is that Martin is now going to be active, I would assume. And we'll see if he gets any burn and if why he was held off the field. But you don't replace Fred Warner. It's just not going to happen. And this defense going forward, if they're going to have any chance, without Bosa and without Warner, they are going to have to be extremely exotic. And when I think exotic defenses, I look at like Brian Flores over with Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Like, it has to be like that. You cannot do any more of the sitting back, vanilla, showing your coverages, not rolling your coverages post-snap, not showing blitz on every play, and then figuring out where it's coming from and where it's not. Robert Saleh has to be so exotic with his game plans. And that's how I'm going to judge him from here on out. I don't know that the defense is going to be good at all. I don't know that it can be. And I'm not going to judge him based off of the results. But what I am going to judge him off of is what type of position is he putting this team into, play in and play out. And if it looks vanilla and it's the same old, that's a Robert Saleh issue. And I think he's going to be exotic, but he has no other choice at this point. So if he doesn't do it now, then that's on him a little bit too. So that's how I'm going to be looking at this defense going forward is less about the result and more about the process. What does it look like pre and post snap? And if players don't make plays, that's not on Saleh. But is he at least making things interesting? That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, that the first thing that came to mind for me is party's over for Coach Saleh. I mean, he's had a way. I know he's been really kind of like unflappable, right? There's nothing you really can say about Coach Saleh bad since he's been here. And I think a lot of that was his transition was smoothed in by having some of the best players in the NFL on that defense that we forgot about. Having a Fred Warner and a Nick Bosa. Now I do believe that we're going to have to see exactly what Coach Saleh has dialed up for these guys, because I feel like there's a catch-22. One is, I agree with you completely. They cannot line up and just show and go. They can't come up vanilla, showing the 3-man shell and just say, beat us. They don't have the dogs to play like that. And I know that Coach Saleh has definitely started the defense with some exotic blitzes and some pressures and misalignments with the defensive line and some personnel packages. We also saw how Jair Brown has been moved to dime linebacker. In all of those adjustments. So we've seen that happen. But the catch-22, like I said, the other side of that is, how are we going to keep the game sterile enough for all of these young guys that they don't get overwhelmed? All right, because exotic defenses or any type of exotic scheme that you're putting in, that's more parts, right? And what do we know about cars, man? You put more parts, that's more things you got to fix.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So more parts to an exotic defense, more parts, more keys, more tags to learn, more reps to put in. I mean, that's going to heighten his level for definitely developing and coaching the hell and repping these guys out. You don't rep it till you don't rep it till you get it right. You rep it till you can't get it wrong. And it's going to be a lot to be able to put these guys on. So he's got a hell of a task ahead of him. But I still don't believe we go out and get anybody. What do you think?
We shouldn't. No, I don't think we should at all. It doesn't make any sense to.
Yeah. Hey, man, so let's get to some of these supers, man. We got a lot of them, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start here. We got Tommy Huxley. I see you. I see you, Jake Moody, 47-yard kick. Jake Moody,
he's kicking for the Bears. He's 2 for 2 tonight, I guess. Yeah.
It is what it is. I saw that in the chat as well. Tommy Huxley, Jordan Elliott is trash. Bring up Seabass, Sebastian Valdez, and
Anderson.
Yeah. Anderson
yeah,
needs
Elliott's
to get brought
not
up.
good. Elliott's not good. He's
It's
never
time to
been
move
good,
on.
So
time to move on. Savage AF24. How does the O-line coach look at Brindle's film and tell himself that he's playing well? They've got a personal relationship. That's not a joke. That's not hyperbole. That is the truth.
Yeah.
Jake Brindle and Coach Forrester have a relationship that dates back to Miami.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I understand being a brain and understanding the offense, but my God, like, thrown around, we can't do anything on the interior of the offensive line. Don't get me started. All right, man, let's just move on.
They said don't get me started.
Adam K, if our $53 million quarterback comes back, what does that change for us? I just want Brock to stay healthy.
I mean, it doesn't change anything. It's everything around him. I mean, this team doesn't win yesterday with Brock. Like, he's not. Say what you want about the Mac Brock thing, whatever. All I know that's factual is that the difference between the two is not substantial enough that you're beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Brock. You're just not. So
does Brock Purdy win us this game if he plays yesterday?
No.
All right. Just I thought I'd ask. Shyla Q, is McCaffrey injured? I thought I saw something. If we replace the center alone, will it help out the line since he is the start of the problem?
You have to have a replacement. That's my whole conversation.
Yeah, and then at the same time, you know, one guy can't help everybody. That is true. I want to be negative and just say hell no, but she does raise a good point that bringing in a guy can change a lot. but I don't think we have that guy on the roster because he's not developed. They got to put him on the field. You know, I'm tired of looking at Drake Nugent and Drew Moss and Hennessy and all these guys and Nick Zakel. And it's like, dude, is he ever going to play?
All of these guys have been hyped up by other people.
What are y'all, buddies? Or are y'all really competing over there? Is it a fucking frat over there in the corner while you guys are doing bag work? Or is somebody trying to get somebody out of there?
Yeah.
Adam K, I agree with Coach. Player development is such an important part of the job. We need to hit the reset button. Yes, agreed. Boxing fan, go ahead. 4X.
I was gonna say player development is a part of the job, but players are UDFAs for a reason. They just are. Like, there is a ceiling with them. Every once in a while you get lucky, but there is a ceiling with UDFAs. There just is.
I feel you, bro. Boxing fan X4X. It's Chris's fault. Also, didn't he say something to the higher pick should go to drafting skill position players? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I've never heard an O-line coach say that.
He's getting his marching orders from his boss, though. Like,
we can't shit. I've never heard an offensive line coach say that. Never.
What's he supposed to say?
That was so limp dick. Oh my God. I don't want good offensive linemen. Who says that, Jesse? Who says that?
A guy that wants to keep his job.
He just did the Sunny D commercial to us. I want that purple stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Michael Allen is it too soon to ask for a culture reset? It's coming. It's coming. Frisco Shields, my boy Frisco, how you doing? Is it a nose candy relationship?
Bro, come on.
I wanted to say it. That's why I'm laughing. Elliot was getting me hit. Who are up to the task, Saleh or Kyle? I think Saleh's up to the task. I do believe that Kyle's been calling really good offenses. Offensive game plans. His game plans have been really good, and Mac has been carrying it out. You have to say that. We just don't have a run game. But hey, that'll be the slate for us. What do you got coming up, Jess?
Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow with Sunil. Of course, Wednesday, got behind enemy lines. Got that all lined up and ready to go. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. And then we got 4-man front on the Patreon. So, looking forward to that, too.
Awesome, bro. Hey, we also got why the hell am I not understanding the neutral zone with me and Chunderboy tomorrow. And also we have the 4-man front coming up. Hey man, this is the coach. Stay low and keep your feet moving. I'll holler at you guys. Peace.